Hello, my dear students, and a big warm welcome to all of you. I know exams are right around the corner and you're all studying so hard, so I thought, let's make things a little bit easier. We're going to do a super fast, super fun revision of one of our most important chapters, Nature's Treasures. Let's get you absolutely exam ready. You ready to jump in? Let's go.
Namaste, mere pyare bachchon. I'm so happy to see you all again. I hope you're feeling fresh and full of energy because trust me, after this session, you are going to remember this chapter forever. It's that easy. So come on, let's get started.
Okay, so what's our game plan for today? Well, first, we'll enter nature's classroom. Then, we'll talk about some invisible gifts, air and sun. After that, it's all about life's magic juice, water and forests. Then, we'll dig deep into the ground for soil and fuels. And finally, we'll tackle the most important question. Do we use them or lose them? It's going to be great.
So, this whole chapter is basically a story about two kids just like you, Bhoomi and Surya. They're visiting their grandmother, their Aji, who is super wise. And through their chat, Aji tells them all about the amazing gifts or treasures that nature gives us every single day. So let's join them and become treasure hunters.
So what are these treasures Aji is talking about? Well, in science, we have a fancy name for them, natural resources. But what does that really mean? It's simple. It's everything we get from nature that helps us live. Air, water, sunlight, forests, you name it. Without them, there would be no life on Earth. It's really that important.
Now, let's start with the first set of treasures. And these are the tricky ones, the invisible ones. They're all around us. We feel them every second, but we can't always see them. Any guesses? Of course, it's the air we breathe and the bright, warm sunshine.
Okay, everybody, exam alert. Pay close attention here. This is a classic question. It comes up in exams almost every year, so you absolutely have to know this. What is this air that we're breathing right now actually made of? Let's find out.
So, check this out. Air is not just one thing. It's a mixture of gases. And here's the surprise. Most of it, a huge 78%, is something called nitrogen. The oxygen, the part we actually need to live, is just 21%. And that tiny little 1% piece of the pie, that's all the other gases combined. Interesting, right?
And you know, when all this air starts moving, we call it wind. We've all played with a furky, that little paper pinwheel, haven't we? You blow on it and it spins. Well, windmills are just giant furkies. The wind pushes their blades, they spin around, and boom, we get electricity. It's pure science magic.
And now, let's talk about the biggest, brightest superstar of our solar system, the sun. The sun is so much more than just a light in the sky. It is the ultimate #1 source of energy for our whole planet. Just think about it. Plants use sunlight to make food, animals eat those plants. It all starts with the sun.
All right, so from those invisible gifts, let's move on to the beautiful blue and green treasures of our Earth. We're talking about water, the elixir of life, and our amazing forests, which are like the lungs of our planet. Both of them are absolutely 100% necessary for survival. Now get ready for a fact that will blow your mind. You see pictures of the Earth from space, right? It's a beautiful blue ball because it's mostly covered in water. But here's the twist. Almost all of that water is salty seawater. We can't drink it. We can't use it for farming. The fresh water that we can actually use is just a tiny, tiny little bit. That's why every single drop is so precious.
And because water is so precious, we humans have come up with some very smart ways to save it. On the left, you see a modern method, rainwater harvesting, where we collect rain from our roofs. And on the right, that's a bawadi, or a stepwell. Our ancestors in India built these centuries ago to store water. How cool and how smart is that? Speaking of saving our treasures, have you guys ever heard of something called the Chipko Movement? The word Chipko in Hindi means to stick to something or to hug, and this is one of the most powerful stories about saving our forests, right from our own country.
You have to hear this story. Back in the 1970s, in the villages of Uttarakhand, people came to cut down the forests. But the village women, they did something amazing. They went out and literally hugged the trees. They formed a circle of people around the trees and said, "You'll have to cut us down before you cut the tree." And guess what? It worked. They saved their forest. What an inspiration.
Okay, so we've looked up at the sky, we've looked at the water and forests. Now it's time to look down. Let's dig a little deeper, literally, because the ground beneath our feet is also full of treasures, from the rich soil to the fuels that power our world.
Can you believe that rocks were one of our first ever tools? For thousands of years, our ancestors used stones and rocks to make things like this hand axe, to hunt and build. And even today, we use rocks and minerals to build our houses, our roads, our schools, everything.
And if we dig even deeper, we find another kind of treasure buried in the earth, fossil fuels. On the left you see coal, which is used to make a lot of our electricity. And on the right, that's petrol, which comes from petroleum. It's the fuel that runs our cars, bikes, and buses.
But here's the most important thing you need to remember about these fuels. They don't just appear overnight. They are made from plants and animals that died millions of years ago. Not thousands, millions of years of heat and pressure. That's a really, really, really long time.
And that brings us to the final and honestly the most important part of this whole chapter. Because some resources can be replaced and some can't, we have a very big choice to make. And this is a choice we make every single day.
Okay, everyone, listen up, listen up. Put your pencils down and look at the screen. If you remember only one thing from this chapter for your exam, make it this. I can almost guarantee you will get a question on this. Ready?
So here it is. Natural resources are of two types. First, we have renewable resources. These are the ones that nature can make more of pretty quickly, like sunlight, wind, and water. We won't run out of them. But then we have non-renewable resources. These are limited, things like coal and petrol. Remember, they take millions of years to form, so once we use them up, they are gone for a very, very long time.
And Mahatma Gandhi said it so perfectly. He said, "Earth provides enough to satisfy every man's need, but not for every man's greed." What he meant was, our planet gives us everything we need to live happily, but if we get greedy and want more and more and more, then it will not be enough.
But here's the good news. You have a superpower, and that superpower is called conservation. And it's not some big, difficult thing. It's made of small, simple actions, like walking to the nearby shop instead of taking a scooter, turning off the tap when you're brushing your teeth, or planting a small tree. Every little action you take helps save our treasures.
So, I'll leave you with this one question to think about. After all this, what is one treasure that you will try to save starting today? Just one thing. And on that thought, I wish you all the very, very best for your exams. You are all brilliant, study well, be confident, and you will do wonderfully. Bye for now.